In current times, various sorts of yoga have spread to the West as many aspects of South Asian culture become popular. All over the United States, men and women, both young and old, attend yoga classes. But how much do they know about the spiritual rituals they're performing? In order to truly appreciate the art and science of hatha yoga, one must understand its origin, its intention, and its relation to spirituality. Although there are many different forms of yoga, hatha yoga is the most popular in the West. It's a physical form of yoga with a long history involving various ancient Hindu scriptures. From hatha yoga spans many offshoot forms of yoga and meditation. Most people today ignore hatha yoga's important relation to religions, such as Hinduism and Buddhism. Instead, many people performing yoga, especially in the West, are most concerned with the physical benefits. However, it is much more than just a form of exercise. Hatha yoga has a rich history and has been a prominent part of Asian culture for years. In order to form an understanding of this style of yoga, one must first analyze the meaning of it. There are many distinctive definitions of hatha yoga. For example, ha means sun and represents the masculine side, while ta means moon and represents the feminine side. Therefore, this definition says that hatha means the combining of two opposites. Also, it can mean forceful yoga because of the fact that it requires more physical work than most other types of yoga. Hatha yoga originated as one of the four main traditions of Tantra yoga. Tantra yoga is defined as a way of studying the universe with the use of creativity and worship of female deities. The other main traditions of Tantra yoga are Laya yoga, Mantra yoga, and Raja yoga. Laya yoga, also known as Kundalini yoga, uses deep meditation to achieve higher consciousness. Mantra yoga is when one repeats a certain sound, or mantra. Finally, Raja yoga was created by a man named Patanjali and is also called royal yoga. Raja, along with Hatha yoga, are the only two divisions of yoga that are focused on physical movement. On the other hand, Hatha yoga is unique because it focuses on postures and breath, or asanas and pranayama. Along with its meaning, the objectives of Hatha yoga are very essential to know. To begin with, this form of yoga includes 8 steps to reaching a higher state of consciousness, both mentally and physically. These steps were originally developed by Patanjali, who, as mentioned before, also created Raja yoga. His 8 steps are yama, self-restraint, niyama, spiritual discipline, asana, sitting posture, pranayama, breath control, pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, dharana, contemplation, dhyana, meditation, and samadhi, total absorption in God. The purpose of practicing all of these steps is to rid oneself of ignorance, suffering, and rebirth. Once this is accomplished, a person can ascend into the mental and physical higher state. In order to achieve full benefits, one should not ignore any of the steps. Each is important to the practice of Hatha yoga. For example, performing the asanas not only increases energy and health in the body, but it also allows the body to become more comfortable in numerous positions, making it easier for one to reach the desired meditative state. In addition, performing the pranayama also allows one to control the mind through the control of the breath. Although each constituent has its own specific intent, all of them together reach towards attaining that heightened mental state. Another significant aspect of Hatha yoga is how it originated. It is agreed that yoga began in India, but how it began is subject to debate due to the fact that history was not well kept during that time. Some say that the first signs of yoga showed themselves around 5,000 years ago. Others claim that yoga originated during the period of the Upanishads, which are a part of ancient Hindu literature from about 400 BC. Yoga is said to have actually been derived from these texts. Later, more was written about yoga practices by Patanjali in the first 3 out of the 4 books of the Yoga Sutras. Patanjali lived somewhere around the 2nd century BC. He may also have been a famous grammarian, but history is extremely ambiguous, so they actually could have been completely separate people. Patanjali claimed that he did not create yoga, but simply brought all of the information from early ascetics together. By this point, yoga had developed into some of the many different forms known today, and hatha yoga had begun to distinguish itself from the rest. Over time, however, most of the focus in the practice of hatha yoga was placed on the 3rd and 4th steps of Patanjali's 8 steps, asanas, and pranayama. Since it is believed that yoga was developed from many ancient texts, it is important to explore the literature of hatha yoga in order to grasp its meaning. Older writings, such as the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Greb07sier, Siva Samhita, Hatharatnavali, and Siddha Siddhanta Padati, written in Sanskrit, describe how one may reach the desired higher stages of consciousness. Clearly, these texts make up a part of Hatha Yoga because they share the same intention. The Hatha Yoga Pradipika was written by the yogi Swatmarama and is the oldest known literature of Hatha Yoga, written in the year 1200 AD. The Greb07sier is mostly about internal body cleansing, or sat kriyas. The material described in this scripture differs greatly from Patanjali's work in the Yoga Sutras, and it was written around the 17th century. The Siva Samhita describes many different positions and techniques that make up Hatha Yoga. Although there is no official date on this text, it is believed that it was also written around the 17th century. These 3 aforementioned writings are considered the classic 3 texts of Hatha Yoga. Within these older writings, higher consciousness is represented as Siva and Sakti, being united. Siva is representative of consciousness, or the mind, and is considered the male aspect of the couple. Sakti represents matter or energy, and is the female half. Together, they depict the union of mind and body, which is a main goal of Hatha Yoga. Also, through this idea, one is reminded of the meaning of the word hatha itself, where a masculine and feminine half are joined together to make a whole. These writings are very important to Hatha Yoga. However, often the older texts are written in a vague manner, so a guru, or master, is necessary to understand their meanings. Knowing the literature that describes Hatha Yoga and all its concepts is a way one can further understand and reap the benefits of their practice. Another method of comprehending Hatha Yoga is to look at all the different types of yoga and meditation that have been derived from it. To begin, Kundalini Yoga emerges from Hatha Yoga. This form of yoga incorporates aspects of other yogas besides Hatha, including Raja and Mantra. As mentioned before, all of these forms are grouped together as the 4 main traditions of Tantra Yoga. Many other types of yoga are offshoots of Hatha Yoga, like Kripalu Yoga. Kripalu Yoga involves several of the same constituents as Hatha Yoga, such as postures, meditation, and breathing. This form of yoga is used currently by multiple people for certain physical benefits, like a reduction in anxiety. In addition, integral yoga comes from the same lineage as Hatha Yoga. It relates to Hatha Yoga in the same way as Kripalu Yoga and is said to be a mixture of karma, jhana, and bhakti yogas. Karma yoga is associated with selfless action, jhana yoga is associated with knowledge, and bhakti yoga is associated with a devotion to a deity. Another offshoot of Hatha Yoga is Tibetan Yoga, which is a very distinctive style of yoga. A quality of Tibetan yoga that makes it so unique is the 5 Tibetan rites. These are a routine of exercises that help one balance their 7 chakras to better help the flow of energy, also known as prana, through one's body. These chakras are centers of spiritual energy. Tibetan yoga's goal is to make the body, mind, and spirit one, and unlike Hatha Yoga, is based solely on Buddhism. Also from Hatha Yoga spans a practice called transcendental meditation. This is another well-known tradition from India that has been brought to the West. It was founded by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who developed this form of meditation from Vedanta philosophy. Transcendental meditation is probably best known for its influence in the 1960s, when it became very popular with various celebrities such as the Beatles and Mia Farrow. This was natural meditation, done in order to reach that higher state of consciousness. The aspect of Hatha Yoga that is likely the most ignored when practiced in the West is its relation to religion. With regards to Hinduism, the very concept of yoga is thought to have been derived from its ancient texts, known